You're here on Vision Builder Sunday. Thank you so much for coming today. I'm so excited. I'm telling you, this whole day is really about you. I don't want you to think this day is about something that I want to do and a vision that I have. This day is about you. This day is about who we are as a community of believers gathering together every week in this building to worship and then have an influence on our community. And I hope by the end of this day, you'll hear that and you'll understand exactly how that looks and how that works. Because let me tell you the kind of week that I have most weeks. And this is just the truth. And this is what drives me through these kind of visions that we talk about in our team meetings and talk about in our staff meetings as we try to figure out where God has for us to go. I talk to people all the time, and usually when I let people know that I'm a pastor, their tone kind of, either two things happen. Either they leave, either they're like, you're a pastor, I don't really want to, it's like you're a therapist or something. Like when they say things to you that you're going to judge them, I'm not going to judge anybody. Or they grab your arm and they move you 3 feet. It's like if they're 3 feet into the sanctuary. I don't know what happens in that 3 feet, but like all of their confessions come out in that 3 feet walk into the other part of the room. And they begin to tell you in lower tones, hushed tones, hey, I just need to tell you, Pastor, that, I've got some things going on in my world. Man, everybody's got some things going on in their world. If you ever feel like you got some things going on in your world, just know you're normal. Yeah, thank you. Yeah. And then they say things like, people just don't know, like if they really knew who I was on the inside, they wouldn't believe in me like I do. If you really understood what goes on inside of my mind and in my heart, you wouldn't think that I'm worthy of all the kind of, serving in church. And there's a lot of people that don't even believe, when I talk to them, don't even believe they should be here in this service, that they're worthy of sitting amongst you and worshiping God. Say, I used to believe in God, but I don't. When I was preparing this message for you, I thought about getting up here and just start talking like people talk to me and act like I was talking to you, and have that little juxtaposition so you thought I was talking about myself. So I'd be like, I'm just not, if you only knew what happened in me. But the truth is that kind of confession is in every heart. That kind of brokenness is on the inside of every single one of us. And I don't know anyone. I don't know anyone on our staff. I don't know anyone in ministry that I've spoken with. I don't know anyone who serves in this place. I don't know anyone who's on any of our teams. I don't know anyone who walks through the door that doesn't have on the inside of them this sense of brokenness. This sense of, man, there's just something not right on the inside of me. And there's some people that have lots of money that feel that way. And there's some people that don't have much money that feel that way. There's some people who are black that feel that way. There's some people who are white that feel that way. Some women feel that way. Some men feel that way. Pretty much everyone I interact with on some level at some time has those moments when they feel that way. Because it's the truth. Every single one of us are broken. And it's my goal with this Vision Builder campaign. And really, we call it Vision Builders, like we make it into something, but the truth is, what this is we want to manifest our heart. This is a Sunday where I share my heart with you about the future of our church, and I ask you if you want to join with us in giving over and above your tithe to support those efforts, and we'll talk about that in just a minute. But overwhelmingly, what I want to do is reverse this trend of the idea that you can do all this on your own. The idea that you have to go through life by yourself. The idea that your brokenness separates you and isolates you from connection with other people. You go to a men's prayer meeting, I tell you what, you can go around 20 men in a men's prayer meeting, they're all going to pray about their job. Why? Because it's not personal enough to make me vulnerable. It's not personal enough to make me have to contribute anything into the conversation, because most men feel like if you really knew how broken I was, you wouldn't want to be friends with me anymore. If you really knew how broken I was, you wouldn't respect me anymore. But the truth is, we all see each other's brokenness most of the time. And I just want to break down the walls of expectation that, I'll come to church and I'll sit in a seat and I'll hear the message and I'll sing the songs, but you just don't understand what's going on in me. It just can't be made right anymore. I'm just an ordinary person living an ordinary life. I asked the staff this week, I said, hey, listen, if you were to take a survey of everyone you know in the church, or maybe everyone you know in your life, and you ask them one question, so maybe you can ask yourself this question right now. You asked them one question, you said, Are you living an extraordinary life? What percentage of people in your influence would answer yes? If you went to your job tomorrow, maybe you just went home today, maybe you just turn to your spouse right now. Don't do it, especially men. Men are a little less emotionally aware sometimes than your wife will probably break down crying. Are you living an extraordinary life? And I said, what percentage of the people in your influence do you think would say yes? And we got a variety of different answers. My answer and Pastor Tyler's answer were the same. We both said 5%. 5 out of every 100 people that we asked, we think would say they're living an extraordinary life. Some answers went a little higher, a little lower. We probably averaged around 15%, but I don't, I'm just trying to share my heart with you. I'm really not trying to convince you of anything this morning. I just want you to know that I find that unacceptable. I find it unacceptable that 85% of the people in the world feel like they're living unexceptional lives. And then I asked another question to our staff. I said, hey, now think about all those people that you know and ask yourself this question. How many people do you know that are truly unexceptional? People that are truly ordinary, people that truly shouldn't believe more in themselves, people that truly should just accept the lot that God has given them in life and move forward in that place. What percentage of people do you feel like really just need to get a reality check in their world and just settle for the fact that their lives are completely ordinary and they really have no hope? They really have no opportunity for more in their world. And I had about 20 people sitting at the table, and I'd written some names on the board of people to answer. I wrote Pastor Joe's name down, and I wrote Pastor Kim's name down. I think I wrote Walletta's name down. I got people's opinion. I wrote Nylary's name down. She was there. And I said, okay, now I'm going to go around the room and talk about it. And Pastor Eric went, 100% are worthy. Right. I said, Pastor Eric, I didn't ask you. But that's why I love Pastor Eric, because he doesn't wait. When he's got conviction, he just moves forward. Yeah. And he said, everybody's worthy. Everybody deserves full life. Everybody deserves extraordinary. And I know what it's like. I know that we can become used to this. We become used to this idea that ordinary is acceptable, but it's not acceptable. And we become used to this ordinary idea in America that we're self-made individuals, but nobody's truly self-made. We have a Declaration of Independence that tells us that we need to do it on our own. And it was a good idea in 1776, but in 2017, 2018, 2019, 2020, we need to change that around and get a Declaration of Dependence that we can't do this alone any longer. That we need to do this together because God works where 2 or 3 are gathered. There he is also. And we need to get in the presence of God to get this thing right. I love the testimony of Ben and Michaela Johnson over here who lived in Florida their whole lives. I mean, they could have kept living in Florida. I'm not going to say they were living unexceptional lives, but they were just living their life like normal people. But they said, we're not going to settle for this. We're not going to settle for ordinary. We think that maybe there's something more. Ben's been coming to this church on and off since he was in high school. And he said, hey, Michaela, if we happen to get married one day, which they did, there's this church I know in Atlanta. Man, I just really feel like God is calling. I feel like there's something more for us that I really love. And my sister and my brother-in-law, sorry, didn't get that one out there. I'm sure it's just brother, right? It's not brother-in-law. It's just my brother. Come on, Kevin, you're bro. Cooper and I say brosif. Brosif. My sister and my brother moved up there, and they had the same feeling I have, and they found this whole new community of people that helped them live this amazing life. And I've seen their life change. I've seen their whole world shift since they moved up there. I think we could do that. And they didn't settle for ordinary. They literally rearranged their physical world, rearranged their work world, rearranged their personal world to get up to where God had for them to go so they could get to extraordinary. Jonathan Moss, I keep talking about, he moved because I knew he was going to sit over there. He moved over here because it doesn't want me to talk about him anymore. Jonathan Moss was living down in like Peachtree City, where everybody's got a golf cart and everything's planned out. He grew up in a planned world. He was an automaton kind of a guy. He was a pastor's kid growing up in his father's church, and he heard about what was happening here, and he said, Dad, I've got to go check this thing out. So for I don't know how long, a year, he was driving up here 1 hour every Wednesday and every Sunday so he could practice with our band and he could just sit in the service with he didn't know anybody here really. he had a gift for playing guitar, and he said, if you'll let me serve, I'll just show up. And since he made that commitment to step out of the ordinary that he was, I'm not saying it was bad. I'm not saying he had this deep need. He wasn't hurting. He wasn't homeless. He wasn't like desperate for God to move. I mean, hopefully he is still desperate for God to move. Hopefully we're all desperate for God to move. But Jonathan just felt like, I need to step out of my ordinary to get to extraordinary. And since he's done that, man, his life is a testimony. I could share it with you again. I've shared it with you a few times already. His life is a testimony. Ben and Michaela's life is a testimony. Matt and Mandy Rice, their life is a testimony. Matt said, I've been in church for a long time, but I went on this men's journey thing, and for the first time in my life, I went on an experience with men where I felt like I could share who I was both at that moment and afterwards. I felt like I walked away with like a band of brothers. Excuse my generalizations. That's not exactly what he said, but it's more or less what he said. Mandy said, I've been at lots of churches with moms groups, and moms groups are awesome, but this church had something different. It had this moms group that meets at midnight, moment at midnight. I thought it was just a youth conference. Rachel decided that the best thing to do is to create a small group that meets in the middle of the evening for moms who work, so we can put our kids to bed because our husbands will fall apart if we leave them at home alone with our infants. The first step in recovery is admitting you have a problem. I can't put the kid to bed. It's not going to happen. We'll get the kids to bed, and then we'll invite the women over to our house, and we'll all get together. And she said, in that moment, I recognized there was a church that understood who I was. Because as a mom, I couldn't relate to these other moms that were staying at home. I needed girls to relate to me with what I was going through. She said, I've never experienced something like that before, and I love this place. People who step out of ordinary, expected, into extraordinary. That's what I think what you hear is the same thing I hear. I think the lives you see around you are just like the lives I see around me, the lives in my neighborhood, my workplace, even in my family. One of the things I love most about my wife is she continues to shift my expectation about what God's able to do in my world. We believe if we can all shift our expectations, if we can all redream a little bit today, let me tell you, we have an opportunity here that you'll get once in a lifetime. We have an opportunity here to together, not just Jeff Kane. We have an opportunity together to build the church we want to attend, to build the kind of community that we've always dreamed was possible with God, not to build what other people are doing or what someone else has decided is right for a Sunday school class or for a worship team, but to build the kind of church we have always wanted to attend. We've got an opportunity to do that together, to reach into so many lives. And I hope that today you'll dream with me a little bit about what's going on, because truly all of this revolves around you. All of this idea, this vision that we have, isn't about what Jeff and Sonny want to do. It frankly isn't even about big buildings. It's about a vision for your life, that you can make an impact in the world all around you. And as a result of that, our community is going to explode. Explode with testimony, explode with blessing, explode in your life being a full life, and the lives all around you becoming full life in Jesus through you. So we've called this Vision Builder campaign the ripple effect, because we believe you can have an impact all around your world. Hey, video team, would you just throw that promo video up on the screen for me? Hey guys, take a minute as I dim the lights and watch this video that we're going to queue up for you here about our Vision Builder campaign.
You were created for greatness. You measure up to what I've called you to do. You are strong. I've called you for right now. You are loved, and you were made to love others. You are the catalyst that will cause a ripple effect in your influence, moving people towards Jesus, allowing Him to empower you, and open eyes for people to see themselves as God sees them. A new creation. You will build His house through relationships, sharing God's word and creating a constant ripple effect throughout your influence. Loving, accepting, and equipping people, pointing them to Him, seeing lives change to experiencing full life in Jesus through you, being the ripple effect.
Come on, it's just a short clip. It's just a short clip with a really cool voice. I can do that sometimes when it wasn't me, it was somebody else. I want us to step outside of not just what we believe for this organization, but what we believe for your life in your circles of influence. You know, our mission statement is that we invite everyone in our influence to experience full life in Jesus. And it's not just an idea we want to write on the wall Although we kind of do want to write it on the wall at some point. We're going to figure that out at some point. But it's something we want to live every single day of our lives. The guiding scripture of our church is John 10:10. And guys, if you put that on the screen, John 10:10 says this: the thief's purpose is to steal, kill, and destroy. Jesus says, my purpose is to give them a rich and satisfying life. Now listen, this is what I want you to know about this scripture. It's true. The whole scripture is true. Not just the second half that we talk about every Sunday. The whole scripture is true. The first part, Jesus says, not I think, Jesus says is true, that the thief's purpose is to steal, kill, and destroy. And I want to tell you, if you don't know Jesus, if you got people in your world who don't have a revelation of who he is, that's where the truth ends for you. Because you don't get the second half. You get John 10:10a coming into your world if you don't have an experience with Jesus. Your only confession of your life is that the world is out to steal, kill, and destroy my hopes, my dreams, and my life. And that's so true. We've seen so much in the past year with Anthony Bourdain and Kate Spade committing suicide about the condition of mental health and hope in our world. I was just in an auto shop last week talking to a girl who's checking me out, and she was so much fun to deal with. And she was so full of energy, and she was so just up. I don't know if she had as much coffee as I had had, but something was going on. And she said, hey, I've got to tell you what's going on in your son's car. It's going to be about $250 to fix it. That's not great news, but it's Vision Builder week, so I'm ready for some opposition to come my way. And I said, hey, literally, I'm operating on that mentality, because you don't have to. But I'm operating on the mentality that God's with me in every moment. So, and that's not something that I just fell into. It's something I'm really struggling to continue in my world. And she said, it's going to be $250. And I literally said to her, not because I'm awesome, but just because I'm really trying to change my mentality. I said, you know what? In the big scheme of things, $250 isn't that big of a deal. I've got more hope than that. Like, I've got more for my life than $250. So let's do it, get the car fixed, and we'll move on. And she said, man, that's a good attitude. I gave up on that kind of hope a long time ago. And there was a time in my life, and I'm just being honest with you, okay? I don't want to sell you anything today. I'm just being honest with you. Because of what we've done together in this church, because of the difference it's made in my mentality, there was a time in my life 10 years ago when she had said that, I would have been like, oh, that's a shame. I'm sorry to hear that. But because of our mission and my opportunity to shift my mindset every day to be on mission, I went, well, hey, I'm sorry to hear that, but if you're really interested in having hope again, then I'm telling you, I go to this church down the street. I'm actually the pastor of the church down the street. I'm telling you, since I've been there, my whole world has shifted around. Don't live the rest of your life without hope. You should come to my church, because there's people all over the place that will support you in every moment, and we'll get your hope back. I'm not telling you need to come. I'm just telling you, if you'd like to come, we'd love to have you. You can sit next to me on Sunday, and man, I got to preach for a little bit, but then I'll get back down, and we can hang out together. But you can sit with my wife while I preach, and I'm telling you, you can get your hope back. That's what I see all around me. But you see what's happening because of you, because you're doing this with us, because we're coming up with these mission statements, and we're not just saying them, but we're allowing them to transform our world. I'm shifting how I live my life. I'm changing the way I live. I'm not like her anymore. I've become a different kind of a person. While I was the senior pastor of the church, I've shifted. And I think if we can all shift, we're all going to find full life in a brand new measure. Romans 12:2. You guys know Romans 12:2? Everyone says, be transformed by the renewing of your mind. And that's the core of what it says. But the truth is, this is what it says. It says, don't copy the behaviors and customs of this world. And the behavior and custom of this world is when someone says, man, life stinks. You go, yeah, it's rough. And you just walk out the door of the tire place. Because I'm a member of this church, I'm not just the pastor. You guys in the ministry of this church is changing the way I think. Not to think like the world thinks anymore, but to be transformed and renew my mind to a different kind of a place. That whenever I step into that tire store, whenever I step into my kid's school, whenever I step into any Chipotle or anywhere I go, in that place, I'm called to be an influence for Jesus. I'm called to be light and life in that world. And so I'm called to invite everyone in my influence. And at that moment, that girl was in my influence. And I have to shift the way I'm thinking to reach the kind of people that God's brought into my place. You may hate your job, but you need to know that your job isn't just a job, it's a ministry for you. You know, one of the things, before I get to our three main points for our Vision Builder campaign, one of the things I want to tell you is that we're stepping out of the expectation of anything we've ever done before. When you walk out of this place, underneath that staircase right there, you're going to see a wall. It's our mission wall, and it's just beginning. It doesn't have everything on there, but it's a good start. Every month in 2018 and then 2019, we're going to pick 2 new charities to contribute to. Not like we're going to change charities every month. This is a cumulative effect. So we started with 2, then we moved to 4, then we moved to 6, then we moved to 8, then we moved to 10, and instead of going to 12, I doubled down on 2 of the ones I was already sponsoring because I believed in them so much. We're sponsoring for $1,000 a month, your church, you, because of your contribution, because of what you're doing. When you put that tithe in the bucket, when you commit to Vision Builders, you are sponsoring Samaritan's Purse, who's one of the few organizations in the world that's going into the Middle East to preach the gospel. And so we coded our giving, our $1,000 a month to Samaritan's Purse every single month. We coded that giving to Northern Iraq missions because we believe that Samaritan's Purse is trying to invite everyone in their influence in Northern Iraq to experience full life in Jesus. And who knows that Northern Iraq needs some hope in their world. Northern Iraq needs some full life in Jesus. They just don't know it yet. So we're supporting them to go out and do that. Samaritan's Purse also has Middle Eastern missions, which most people don't have because it's a real dangerous place to go. So when you support the ministry of this church, you're also supporting for $1,000 a month missionaries to go into the Middle East and preach the gospel so that those people, let me tell you something, you read about those children, you think, oh, everybody can have a better life. They literally don't think that way. Kids in the Middle East don't think. The reason why they blow themselves up in marketplaces is because they literally don't think to themselves, I can change my circumstance. My life can look different than it looks right now. They just don't have that kind of culture built into them. They don't have that kind of mindset. And I'm not planning on going to Northern Iraq anytime soon. I'm not saying I wouldn't, Jesus. I'm just saying I'm not planning to. Don't ever tell God you won't do something because you'll end up going somewhere that you never wanted to go. We support Love Does, Bob Goff. We read his book, Everybody Always. We support his charity, $500 a month. He goes into Afghanistan and Uganda and he builds schools for children just to change their mentality and give them a hope that they never had before. We support the Quinn House over here, $500 a month to help guys who've come to the end of their rope but who are willing to submit to a program of spiritual and physical and substance abuse recovery to find full life in Jesus again. We support the Atlanta Union Mission every single month so that the homeless population of Atlanta can go to a place to get a meal, to get a shower, to get some clothes, and to get some hope because they don't believe that the clothes, the shower, or the meal are going to change those people's situations. They believe the hope of Jesus is going to change their situation. And it's my commitment to you that we're going to continue to build and build and build our missions budget every single year so that we can continue to reach out beyond our 4 walls to have an impact for Jesus. And every one of those organizations, Compassion International is another one, every one of those organizations will share our mission to invite everyone in our influence to experience full life. I'm not just interested in feeding people. I'm actually interested in changing their world. I'm actually called to bring light and life into their world. We're called to do that. And because of you, we're giving thousands of dollars every single month to build the community of the church outside of these 4 walls. But what do we want to do inside the walls? Let me give you 3 things we want to do inside the walls. First thing, we want to equip people because we're asking you to invite everyone in your influence to experience full life in Jesus. We kind of need to help you do that. Like Sanjay back here is an engineer. And you know, he actually does like power engineering, which I don't really understand. So we'll pretend like he's a structural engineer because I can explain that to you. I'm not smart enough to tell you what Sanjay actually does. But you don't just walk into a structural engineering firm and go, hey, I was trying to figure out with my parents what I wanted to do with my life, and I was thinking maybe I would do that computer stuff, or maybe I thought about fixing cars, but I think I want to be a structural engineer, so can I just kind of start? They're like, actually, we just got this bridge project in. We'd love for you to go ahead and take it. It doesn't work that way. When your doctor sees you in his office, it doesn't so happen that your doctor was just passionate about healing people. And he walked into a hospital one day and said, listen, I don't have any formal education. Actually didn't even finish high school, but I'd like to be a doctor. So could I get a job here and just start like giving it a go on some folks? No, you can't do that. You have to actually go to school and become a doctor, then take a licensing exam. And then once you pass your licensing exam, you have to go and intern with people to make sure, like apprentice with them for a while so that you can do what we're calling you to do. Oh, okay. Well, I'll figure that out. But the church doesn't work like that most times. The church does, hey, you guys need to go tell people about Jesus. Okay. And we haven't trained people, so what's happened? No one wants to do it anymore. And most of the people in your influence don't want to hear it anymore because we haven't done it the right way. We're like doctors without training. We've let so much blood and cut off so many limbs. People are like, I don't feel good, but I'm not going there for help. We want to shift that idea. But listen, you can't do that for free because this is what happens when you ask people who aren't doctors to train new doctors. You know what you get? People who aren't doctors anymore. They call that the blind leading the blind. So what we've done as a team, as an organization, is we've gone outside for help to get the best resources, to get the best programs and make them our own. And two of the things we're doing in this church right now, one of the things, we got 62 leaders going through a leadership pipeline training so that when we ask you to be a leader in this church, we don't just say, hey, guess what? You're a leader and slap a name tag on you. We go, hey, we'd love for you to lead some folks in our church. Before you do that, we want to help train you on how to interact with people. Help train you on how to speak life into people's worlds. How to have a positive bias when you speak into people's lives. Because people who have enough understanding about what their problems are, what people need is hope. So we train people over a series of about 10 to 12 weeks. We have them read some books, we have them watch some videos, we have them sit in small groups and learn how they can lead people to experience full life in Jesus. For the last 20 years, we've done what everyone else does. We've gone, you're a leader. As a Christian, you don't need any training. You can just lead. As a Christian, you don't need any training. You can just heal people. As a Christian, you don't need any training. You can just speak life. No, you can't. You need help to do what God's calling you to do. So as a church, we've unleashed this program that you're going to see grow and grow and grow. And listen, these programs aren't just going to help you here. They are going to help you here. They're just going to help you lead the host team or lead the worship team or lead the kids team. They're going to help you in your job. They're going to help you in your home as you deal with your kids and your spouse. They're going to help you in every relational area of your world to become a people builder. And when you become a people builder, I'm telling you, people will want to be in your influence because everyone needs that kind of hope. Everyone in every cube in your office, everyone in every classroom at your school, everyone in every football field, baseball field, soccer field is looking for people like you to be around more often when you get trained to be a minister. Ephesians 4 says it's our responsibility, not like our responsibility. It says it's our responsibility to equip the church to do the work of the ministry. I want to equip you to go out into your families, into your workplaces, into your schools, and have an incredible impact because of the work that Jesus has done in your world. I want to train you how to unleash that in your world. We've got this triangular banner kind of hanging up here. We call it our Discipleship and Evangelism PlayBook. We're spending hundreds of hours developing this thing, and this is just the first manifestation. Pastors Kim and Eric are going to a conference in Nashville next week just to sit for days and listen and learn from the very best in America about how we can help lead people to experience full life in Jesus. And in the beginning of next year, you know, we've given you The Blessed Life, the book by Robert Morris. We've given you The Purpose-Driven Life, all for free. We've given that to you. We just gave you Everybody Always. We gave you Draw the Circle to increase your prayer life. We've given you all these books for free to help equip you. We're going to give you our own resource in 2019. It's going to be a resource that's going to help you to minister, to live full life in Jesus, so that when that person at the cube next to you says, man, you're just amazing. I just don't understand what's different about you. And you don't know how to respond because most people don't know how to respond. A lot of times I don't know how to respond. We're going to have an article in that magazine, just 2 pages of the 120. Well, maybe it'll be 4 pages because it's pretty long. Called the 100 Ways to Start a Spiritual Conversation. I just don't know what to say. I mean, my mom keeps asking me about my church and how I've changed and all this. I just know how to start a spiritual conversation with her. Hey, you know that resource the church gave me? It's on our coffee table, 100 ways to start a spiritual conversation. Way 1, nope, that's not going to work. Way 2, nope, that's not going to work. Way 3, nope, that's not going to work. Like Pastor Sarah says, if you get through all 100 ways and you still can't start a spiritual conversation, we'll give you all your money back. We want to help equip you to live the life God's calling you to live. We've got connect groups. Pastor Eric's looking into this right now, freedom groups, because we believe that you can't live all that God has for your future if you can't get rid of your past. In 2019, we're going to unleash freedom groups based largely on what Pastor Donna has done with the push groups and what some churches in Alabama and other areas are doing that are having a lot of success with this idea of small groups devoted to helping you get rid of your past and step into your future. We're not just going to go, hey, Pastor Eric, you've never done that before, right? Yep. Well, why don't you give it your best shot? Like, we'll give you 10 lives to practice on. I don't want you to be the practice life. I'm going, hey, Eric, I'm going to send you with 10 people to Alabama to go to a school to learn how to do this. And then I'm going to send you to New York to learn how to do this. I'm going to send you to California to learn how to do this. And I want you to develop a program of the best of all those practices so that in 2019, we can do this and I can get set free. So we can do this and you can get set free. And then once we get set free, we'll set everybody else free. Because our vision isn't to do things the same way again. If we did that, hey, we're just going to build some buildings. There's nowhere in the Bible that says build more buildings. You know, I love this. Truett Cathy said one time they were arguing about how to make Chick-fil-A bigger as if that was a problem. How to expand Chick-fil-A. And there's a story that his board was meeting and they were all kind of arguing about how to do it. And he kind of slapped his hand on the table and he said, listen, we don't need to worry about how to get bigger. If we get better, they'll demand we get bigger. I want to get better as a people. I want to help you, equip you to live full life in Jesus, because when you get to that point, you'll just overflow into that kind of a thing. I want to equip you, and then I want to invite people, because that's our mission. That whole front face we're doing, David and Laurel Mulliken unbelievably volunteering their time to help us do a fantastic job front facing our church. It's not so we can look cooler. It's so when we equip you to invite people, and Chuck and Barbara invite their friends or their family to come into the church, it's so when they invite them, when they drive up to the church for the first time, immediately they feel comfortable. That brushed cold metal in the front of the building that was cool in 1985 isn't cool anymore. People literally walk into our church. We've got signs everywhere, but people aren't good readers. They're just good doers. I'm not joking. They walk into our church all the time and say, is this a car dealership? Who wants to go to a car dealership? No one. I don't want to even look like a car dealership. We're refacing the front of the church to make it warm with wood, with browns, with warm colors, with beautiful, whole, not broken up concrete. Pastor Kim's going to spend a ridiculous amount of money on beautiful patio furniture out there so you can sit down there and lounge and be comfortable and be the invitation to everyone. Because we want, when you invite your friends and your family in this place, we want this place to be an invitation. We want to equip you to invite people and make this place an inviting place. When we do these trunk or treats and community outreach events, we want to be able to expand our ability to make those excellent events. We don't want to be the homegrown, backwoods, country bumpkin kind of trunk or treat. We want to be able to come here and go, wow, this place is alive. Wow, this place is unbelievable. We're right now, we've already ordered it. We're going to replace all of our parking lot lighting because you come here at night and it's a little bit scary. I only want it to be scary one night a year, and that's on trunk or treat night. The other nights I want it to be super life-giving. So we're going to add lighting. That kind of stuff sounds silly to you, but talk to Larry Anthony because he's taught me for 20 years now that it's the things you don't notice that make the biggest difference. If the sound stinks, man, your experience, no matter what songs we sing, aren't going to be good. The sound's got to be good before the musicians even get on the stage. If the lighting isn't good, if the front face isn't good, then the invitation isn't there. We're going to make an invitation so that when your family comes, when your friends come, when they walk into this place, their hearts are already melted away. And there's no excuse, there's no obstacle to them receiving what God has for them. The last thing we want to do is receive people, because you've invited them, they've come, they're here, and we want to receive them. Because I believe as we do these things, not because we want to just get bigger for bigger sake, but as we get better, we're going to get bigger. And we need to prepare ourselves. We need to position ourselves for growth. You're foolish to wait till the very last minute and then try to do something giant. We've got plans to expand our auditorium out the back wall of that sanctuary. The building was designed to do that, and we want to complete those plans. Last year, because of your generosity, we raised and saved. We raised and stewarded well over $250,000 that we have sitting in an account ready to break ground on that building out there. In 2019, I want to do that again because I don't want to just scrape into that place. I want to raise another $250,000 to grow that seed. The bank is already on board. We just have to equip you, get ready to invite the people, and when we grow to that place, man, we'll be ready to break through that wall and build that building. And man, when we do that, man, that's gonna be a celebration Sunday like you've never seen before. But right now, we're sowing a seed. If you sow a seed and dig it right back up and eat it, you're done. But if you let it grow in the ground and you let it produce that one ear of corn, you get 200 more seeds on there. When we start planting this stuff in the ground, we're going to get more and more and more resources coming in to the heart of this church. Why? Because before I reach one more person, I want to make sure you've got full life in Jesus. And that means you're living the life God called you to live, which means I've equipped you to be light. I've equipped you to be life, and I've given you a place to exercise that ability, a place to join together in community and find the freedom that you've always been destined to have. Because he came for that reason, to give you a rich and satisfying life. And then once you have it, equip you to go out in every area and invite everyone in your influence to come into this place and find that same freedom in a beautiful building with great programs designed to help people experience that full life.